All right, welcome back. So in this lesson, we are going to not build out this workflow just yet, but we're going to build out the prereqs to make this workflow. So what I mean by that is when you look at this workflow, this is a workflow that will take a resume from an end user. We'll have AI agents that score it, and then AI agent that summarizes it and gives pros and cons of the application. And then it will update our Google Sheet. And if the score is 85 or higher, we'll send a message to the hiring manager saying, hey, we might have found a good fit for this job. So essentially that's the entire workflow, but we do need to establish some prereqs. So what we have to do is we have to make a Google form. And when we make a Google form, there's an option to automatically create a Google Sheets with it. And I'll show you how to do that. But all we have to worry about right now is making our Google form. And then I also have files attached to this lecture with resource files. It has sample resumes, it has the sample job posting, so you can just download those and follow along and use the exact same data that I'm using. So first things first, we do need to head over to Google and make a new Google form. And also at the end, we have a send a message via Slack. So if you also want to create a Slack account, if you haven't yet, you most likely have, because we have done Slack related automations so far. But if you haven't, this is another step to the workflow that if you want, you could utilize. You don't have to run this if statement at the end here that sends a message to Slack. You can get the same optimized workflow by just going up to the last step here that says append or update row in sheet, and you get the same workflow. You just don't send a message to Slack. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we're going to make this Google form, but essentially this is what my form looks like. It's very straightforward. It just has a title here, application for entry-level data analyst, and there's a job description here, which is just a link to a document I'm hosting in my Google Sheets, or not Google Sheets, but Google Docs. So when you click on that link, it'll take you over to this page here, and it's just a sample job description that I got from ChatGPT. All right, let's head back. So that's the only thing we need, really. We just need that link, and then we need a few sample fields, first and last name, email, and then somewhere to upload your resume. That's probably the key part. We have to be able to upload a resume here and also just specifying PDF. But again, let's go make a new form. I don't want to start this with anything made, so let's head over to Google Forms. Let's do this sample RSVP form just because that's what I started with. So I'm going to do the same exact thing I did when I first tested out this workflow. And what we're going to do here is we're going to rename this to job application for entry-level data analyst, or whatever job posting, sample job posting you want to make. Next up here, I'm going to delete this, and I did attach a file for you guys to download and then upload to Google Sheets, or sorry, Google Docs. I keep saying Google Sheets. So let me head over to Udemy and I'll also download that file just so I'm following along exactly with what you guys are doing. Okay, so the file that we are looking for is called entry-level data analyst.pdf. It is attached to the resources, and it's just this file right here. So after you download that file, let's head over to docs.google.com. So I'm just gonna get rid of this and then press enter. All right, so now I am at my Google Docs. And what I need to do now is I need to open the file I just downloaded from our Udemy resources, that being the entry-level data analyst job description. So once you open that file, copy everything here. So just highlight and copy, and then hit Control-C or right-click copy, and then head back to your Google Docs and then paste that into here. But when we paste it in here, it's just a glop of text here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go paste this over into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to format it for us. So I'm gonna say, can you format this sample job posting? And I'm gonna paste it down here and let's send it. All right, so I'm going to copy all of this, and there we go, copy. Let's head back to Google Docs, highlight all this and delete, and then paste in exactly what we just copied from ChatGPT, and there we go. So now we have this job posting here. If you want, you can remove all the blank lines between these different bullet points. So I'm just going to go through and clean this up a bit so it's all on one page. There we go. And what we want to do is go over to File. Let's go over to File, and let's do Share, and let's do Publish to Web. Just to be safe, we want to make sure that our workflow is able to access this link, and we want to make sure that our Google Forms, if an end user clicks on the job description link, is able to actually read this job description. So I'm going to click on Publish here. I'm going to say okay. Let's publish it. Now I have this. I'm going to copy it. Let's click close. And now let's go over back to our Google form and paste that job description in there. Let's say view the job description here, and paste that in there, and then press enter, and there we go. Now we have a link to our job description. Next up, let's start modifying this Google form with questions that we actually need answers to. So the first question is going to be, what is your first and last name? And we're going to change this from multiple choice over to short answer, and we'll make sure it is required. Next up, we'll say, what is your email address? And let's change that over to a short answer as well and make sure that's required. Now, lastly, we want to change this multiple choice over to a file upload. So click on file upload. It's going to say let respondents upload files to Drive. I'll say continue, and I'll say only allow specific file types. And I only want to allow PDFs. And the question will be upload resume. And we'll make sure this is a required action. Feel free to modify the maximum file size if you want, but 10 megabytes is plenty. We do not need to go over that. And let's delete this last question here. We only need 3 questions. All right, perfect. So now we have our job description set up, but it's not completely done. We still have to publish it. And we could change this profile picture or this background picture if we wanted to. So let's head over to theme. And I'm just going to throw in this CloudTrade Academy picture I have. Feel free to put whatever image you want here if you want to have something, or you don't need anything if you don't want anything there. And there we go. Now we have this link that people can go to and fill out this data. So if I go ahead, open a new tab and paste that in, I am now able to see this form here. I could go over and view this job description. And if I head over here, this is what it would look like. Job description, we're seeking a highly motivated and detailed individual to do the following tasks. And I just realized that our formatting didn't even apply. Whatever, it is what it is. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about it because it's not a big deal. It doesn't affect our workflow. But anyways, we can see our job posting right here with all the requirements and the nice to have skills. So now let's head back to our job application form, and we could fill this out if we wanted to. We could upload our email address, upload our first and last name, and we will actually go ahead and do that. But first we need to head back to Udemy and we need to download our resume resources so we have something to upload here. So head back over to Udemy. It's going to be under this lesson and the next lesson. They both have the same resources. So under this lesson, download the 2 resumes. And the name of those would be jordanr.pdf and johnsmithresume.pdf. Those are the 2 files that we need to download for this step. So once you do that, go ahead, enter whatever name you want. I'm going to say the first name of this person is, well, I guess I'm going to keep the names similar to the resume just because it makes sense. So this will be Jordan R. I don't think I specified a last name, or if I did, I don't remember. Email address will be jordanr@gmail.com. And actually, I'll make a fake email domain just because I don't want anyone to get a random email. So I'll just say Clouds TA, I guess. And let's go and upload Jordan R's resume right now. All right, there we go. So I'm uploading Jordan R's resume, and now we should be good to submit. And as long as everything looks good here, this should go through without issue. Let's click on submit. All right, so it says, thank you for your response. Looks like it went through successfully. Let's head back to our Google form here and head over to responses. So here are our responses, but we haven't set up our Google Sheets yet, so we're not able to kind of track this all in a Google Sheet yet. We will have to click on link to Sheets. So let's do that. And let's create a new spreadsheet that will say, I don't know, 2025 entry-level data analyst responses. Let's click on create. And I'm just specifying 2025 because I already have a different file name with the same exact name. So I'm going to click on create here. And there we go. Now we have a new Google Sheet with our timestamp of when this was submitted, the first and last name of the applicant, and their email, and then a link to their resume. Perfect. So we have all this data. So what we're going to do now is create 2 new columns. And these columns are going to be used with our workflow, with our AI agent. It's not related to the Google form at all, but it is relevant with the workflow design. So the first column is going to be resume score, and the next one will be resume feedback, or not really, I guess feedback / summarization. And there we go. So now we have 2 columns here. I'm going to make sure this column type is a number and this column type is of type text, and there we go. So we have a type text column, a number column, and then the rest is just default from our Google form. Okay, so we have now created our Google Sheets. We have created our Google form. There's one more thing to do here, and we just are going to upload another resume from our other applicants, and that would be John Smith's resume, and that resume is also in the resources. So go ahead, go back to Google Forms, and let's upload another one. Now, you'll most likely have to use a different account or a different email because your other email already submitted a response. So if you don't have another email, you don't need one. You can just run by this with one entry, and that's fine. Otherwise, I'd recommend if you want another entry to just create a new email or use whatever spare email you have. So I'm going to go ahead and use a different email, and I'll run through this again. All right, using a different email this time, I'm going to enter in the first and last name of John Smith. I'm going to say John Smith at cloudta.com, not a real email. And then I'm going to click on upload resume and upload the John Smith resume. All right, John Smith's resume is now uploaded. Let's click on submit, and there we go. So we have another response. If I head back to our Google Sheet, we can see the second response has come through. If I want to open the resume, I can click on the link here, and I can look at the uploaded resume. So this is John Smith's resume. It looks like he has experience as a junior analyst and a data analyst intern, bachelor's in data science, and all these technical skills here with some projects as well. Let's go and look at Jordan R's resume. Jordan R, he has some relevant skills as well, and then he has some less relevant skills. And if you're wondering why it says this, it's because I had ChatGPT just make a resume with relevant and less relevant skills. It's really just to visualize this, but it doesn't affect anything here. This is their experience: data intern, sandwich artist, party magician, and then some random projects. And the whole point of these two resumes being different is because this one should be getting a lower score, whereas this one should be getting a higher score because this one will relate more closely with our job description here. So we want John Smith's resume to be more aligned because this one is the one that will get a higher score from our AI agent. Okay, so just to recap, we have since created our Google form and our Google Sheets. And what's going on now is that we have two emails here with a resume for each of them, and then we have a column for resume score and a column for resume feedback. Now, the reason why we have Google Sheets is, for one, to store all this data in an easy to access and easy to use, I guess, kind of UI here. We have row by row data per applicant with their scores and the feedback. So that's one reason. And the other reason is if we want this workflow to actually run, we need to use a trigger that is relevant in this case. So we can't have a trigger that waits for new Google form entries, but we can have a trigger that waits for new rows added to a Google Sheet. So whenever a new person comes over here and uploads their resume or, sends in an application, our workflow would run. We would grade their resume, and then our AI agents would give some feedback on their resume and how well it aligns with our job description here. So there we go. We have all of our setup work done. We haven't done anything with n8n yet. We haven't even created a workflow. We're just getting all the setup done. And now once we hop over to the next lecture, we can begin to create our workflow. So I believe we have covered everything. Let's just recap again. We have Google Forms, Google Sheets. Only other things we need would be Slack. So if you want to go ahead and create a Slack account, if you haven't already, if you want to do that step, otherwise, you don't need to worry about that. And actually, before we go, I just realized something. We do need to set up OpenAI, and we do need to add some type of credits to use OpenAI. So if you head over to the resources for this lecture, you can open this file that is called OpenAI Billing. And when you open that file, it's just going to be this. It's just a link to this URL. So if I click that link, I'm going to head over to my billing page, and we can see my balance here is $9.99. And if I head over to my usage, you can see this is all the usage I have. So I've sent 26 requests to ChatGPT, and you can see it has costed me only 1 penny. So if money is an issue or anything like that, you don't have to worry. This only costs, you can get through this entire course for under 1 penny of usage. So it's really cheap. So maybe if you want at $1, play around with using ChatGPT, but all you have to do is go to the link I sent you here and just add some money to your account. Okay, so now we have everything set up. We have our OpenAI paid for, so we can use ChatGPT. We now have our Google form, our Google Sheet, and now we're ready to start building the workflow. So I'll see you in the next video and we'll start building this out.